Alright, so if you've made a video like a guitar video or a band video, like you want to edit into shorts, here's an example of one I recorded, just me playing my own guitar. And it's like a minute and 13 seconds, but just playing kind of a riff. So I want to pull a short out of this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, it's on my computer, it's been transferred from my phone to my computer right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Davinci Resolve. If you haven't downloaded it, download the free version. But once you've opened the software up, I'm going to launch, and this will allow you to edit. So just click on New Project right here, and then title your project whatever your title is. You can call it Guitar Delay Shorts as an example. Okay. You can start organizing these better too. This is just a really fast way to make shorts. Click Create. And now you're going to come into the main screen of Davinci Resolve, and you're going to have no idea what to do. What I recommend you do is just go down to the bottom and click on the Edit tab, which is right here. It's this one. This one has the blue, and green with the red bar through it. The blue represents video, and the green represents audio when you're inside editing software. So let's go ahead and click on that tab down here. Now we're inside the Editing tab. And there's basically like quadrants in here that matter the most. It's divided in the middle. The top left up here, this is the media pool. So if you click on the media tab here, it opens up this window here, and then there's the master, and then what's inside the master folder, or what's called a bin. What we're going to do is we're going to drag. So we're going to go to the Finder or go to my computer, whatever you're using for a computer. That video is on my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and pull that in here. Here it is right here. I'm going to drag and drop it into the media pool. Okay. It's going to ask, hey, do you want to change the frame rate to match what you're trying to edit? Sure. Click Change. And what that'll do is it'll bring it into the software. Okay. Next thing I need to do is I need to right click on it and click Create New Timeline using Selected Clips. Okay. What that'll do is it'll make the timeline the same size as your video. So if your video is vertical, it'll make a vertical video. If it's horizontal, it'll make a horizontal video. You can see that right here in the format, it's changing it to be horizontal. So what I want to do is I want to change this to be 1080 by 1920 and vertical. So it's going to be this way. Okay, 1080 by 1920 is a good size to work with in here. Click Create. Then you'll have a video that is up here in this program view, which is the timeline view down here. And this clip down here is the whole clip. So if I were to play through this, that's the whole thing. You can see there's video in this layer, and there's audio in this layer down here. Okay. Next thing to do is you need to fix the color inside this, since iPhone's shooting high dynamic range. Click on the video clip, then go down to the bottom. Click on this little color wheel. Okay. And it's going to take you to the color tab. It'll be automatically selected on this thing called a node here, which is this square right here. Go in the top right in the search area, click the magnifying glass, and type in color space transform. Okay, this is going to make the iPhone footage work for editing software. So drag it into there, and then your input color space, we need to change it to be, let's see here, my notes here say Rec 2100 HLG. So let's go down there. Rec 2100 HLG. Let's see, where is it? Well, I think that's the input gamma. Hold on. Stand by 1 second. I need to go back to my notes. Rec 2020, sorry. So Rec 2020 here, that is the iPhone footage standard. And then the input gamma, change that to 2100 HLG. That's correct. So our iPhone footage is a little tricky because it's an iPhone. And then from there, I believe it is, I think, saturation. Okay, so once you have those two changed, go down to gamut mapping and change it to saturation and compression. And then I believe that is all the things that we need to change for that to work. Let me just check my notes here. That appears to be correct. Yeah. Sorry, I don't usually make tutorials for iPhone footage. The last thing I would recommend doing is this is a little bit bright, so you can make a new node by right-clicking on this, and then going to add node, add serial, And now you can do some adjustments. So I'm going to go to the color wheel over here, click on the bars, and then I'm going to go to highlights down here. I'm going to bring this down by clicking and dragging. Bring the highlights down, bring the mids down a little bit, which is this bar right here. Bring the saturation up a little bit, and bring the darkness down a little bit. And this is just color adjustments to correct the footage. That looks better than what it was. Now if you look at before, so I'm going to highlight both of these, hit Command or Control D, you can see the difference. So see, that looks a lot nicer now that there is both of those on. So here's an example using, I think, the split screen view. Okay. So let's go back to the Edit tab now that we've fixed the footage. Okay. Now that you have your footage adjusted, you need to click on this icon, go to Color Management, change the output space to Rec 709A, and that's going to change it so that it can export in the correct format as well. So that's something that helps with exports so it doesn't change color. I know that's a lot of information, but if you're using an iPhone, which is not designed for being edited on Resolve technically, you have to kind of work around those problems. So now that I have that, I have this clip. There's only two tools you have to know about in here. So this is the part you probably care about the most, is how do I edit my video down? Well, there's two tools right here. There's a mouse and there's a blade. These are just different tools to make things happen. The mouse is literally just your mouse. The blade's a razor blade, because I used to cut video film with razor blades back in the day. So click the razor blade tool, and then you can drag this little triangle around like this to move through your footage and find a spot you want to clip. So let's go here, then click play. Okay. See, that's the short I want, okay? So I'm going to click the blade tool right on that line. I'm going to click the blade tool where this starts. And if I click the pointer tool, I can now move this out of here and I have a short. I have a video short right here. Here it is. Okay, now let's say I want to do something fun with this. I go to Effects, up in the top here, and then I go over to Effects, and then click Adjustment Clip. I can drag this effect onto the footage, and I can zoom in. So this will do something like kind of like a magnifying glass. It's sitting on top of here. So if I do nothing to it, it'll do nothing, but I'm going to zoom in on this clip here by going to the transform in the Edit top right. And I'm going to drag this in. What's going to happen is it's going to drag in on the footage. See that? If I change the position, I'm probably covering that. Hold on. Here it is. Right here. Moving this around up in the top right. Let me get closer. Here it is. See? Okay, so I'm going to move that around until it's zoomed into my hand, because that's probably more interesting than my face. So I'm going to take my hand. I'm going to show my fingers playing right here. Okay? So let's see how that looks. So let's center it up. Just keep zooming in. And there's a lot of ways you can do this, but this is the fastest, most precise way. Let's start with this not happening. Now zoom in. Ready? Oops, wrong spot. So I'm going to move this over. I'm right there. Okay, let's do that. And let's cut back out again. So now we have this. Okay, that's that. You can also add titles in here. So if you go up to the top left, you can click on titles. You can do text. This is how everybody's doing their fancy text stuff. Is you can put this in here. You can write stuff. And you can change what it says by changing the text that's written. And you can cut it again with the blade tool. You can make another thing that says something different. And that's how people make text over video. And then they make next one that's just a bunch of X's or whatever. So look, now we have different text. And this is essentially how people edit shorts. So there's different styles and different approaches. You can always edit the text options up in the right, changing the color, the font, all sorts of things. There's lots of ways to do that. But ultimately, this is how you make a short, is you just simply cut from here. So let's say we grab another one here. Right here is this one. We cut right here. Like that. Move this over. Now I have a new short. I'm going to cut right there with the blade tool. I'm going to click the pointer. I'm going to click backspace on my keyboard. It's going to delete the extra part. Now I have two shorts. The way to export a short is you click where you want the short to start once it's been made, and click I on the keyboard, then drag it down to the end, click O, and this is called an in and out point on the timeline. Now you go down to the rocket ship, which is the export tool. It's called Deliver. Click on that rocket ship. It's going to take you to this page, and you can name your short 01 if you want. And then you're going to click Browse in the top left, and you're going to put it somewhere like on your desktop in a folder you have saved for it. And I changed the format to be easier for like YouTube, because that's kind of an easy format to work with. Frame rate's all the same as what I shot it with. I click Add to Render Queue down here at the bottom, and now I have that one ready to export. So if I click on this one on the top right, and I click Render All, which is right here below me, right here. Oops, I stopped it. Let's render all. It's going to start rendering out that clip. And now if I go to my desktop, I look for that clip, 01, here it is. That's pretty much it. So all clips are essentially just taking an in point and an out point and exporting it. And you can get a lot more fancy, but the ultimate duration of the clip is just an in point and an out point. So the second one, let's do the same thing again with this last one I had. And let's make this one black and white. So I'm going to go back to the color tab here. So click the clip I want to work on. Then make it black and white by adding a new node here. So right click, add serial node. Oops, add new serial node. And this one I'm just going to take it. I'm going to take the saturation down here, drag it all the way down to 0, and bring the brightness down a little bit. So now it's all moody, right? There's a lot of things you can do, but that's pretty much it. And now I'm going to hit I, drag it down, hit O on there. And I might zoom in on my face at the end there because I'm doing a thumbs up and it's kind of cheesy. So let's do a thumbs up on the thumb. About that. Then I'll cut this with the blade tool. Cut, click, and then I'll move this over to my face. So I'm going to move the video up. Zoom out a little bit. Ugh. All right, and now I have me looking at the screen. Ready? See, that's kind of weird where that is. I'm actually move it to my my thumb. I thought the face would be. It's really strange. So there we go. Let's do that. Okay. Let's do it again. Cool. So that's a good short to do. And you can even fade it in with this little arrow here. So now it fades in. And you can fade it out too, like this. I think just starting without a fade is better. So let's remove those. Okay, so now in and out points have been set on this. Going back down to the rocket ship. I'm going to call this one 02. So I'm going to write that in there. I'm going to put it back in the desktop again. Add a render queue. Click render. It's going to render out that video, and now we can watch that one back on the desktop, which is now finished. Cool. So once you want to get those on your phone, the easiest way to get back to your phone, if you have a MacBook, is just, or a Mac Apple ecosystem, is to right-click on it, click Share, and you can share it with AirDrop to your phone, and then you can post it onto Instagram or whatever. You can also use third-party services that cost money, but this way is a lot easier if you're going to save money. You can also drag and drop it on an Android if you have an Android you can plug in. So that's how you make shorts on Davinci Resolve. There's two shorts right there. They shouldn't be very hard to make if you can just click I and O on your footage. But going back here, you can pull as many shorts as you want out of one giant clip and put them down and export them. That's the easiest, fastest way. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. If you want a pro tip to organize them, you can highlight the whole short, right-click on it, go to clip color, and change it to one solid color so you know that whole clip is the first one. Right-click on the next one, right-click, clip color, make that one green. Right now you know that these are shorts and these are the raw footage over here. Okay, there's a lot more things you can do, but that's the fastest way to get started. Once again, if you're using an iPhone specifically, you got to make sure you do the color space transform, and that goes Rec 2020 and then Rec 2100 HLG for the input gamma, and then saturation and compression, and then a little bit of adjustment there. I don't make the rules around why it is this way. This is how it is. I don't know. That's just how it is. So you have to make sure you convert the iPhone footage into footage that will look good after being edited. If you edit on a phone with like an app like LumaFusion, you don't have to deal with that. But LumaFusion costs $20, and it's a good video editing app. This one right here, it does the same thing you're doing on the computer. Right here you can see it's the same thing. It's just a lot clunkier. Like, it's a lot harder to use because you're using your fingers, and your fat fingers are over your footage, so you kind of can't see where you're clicking. Like the blade tool, you're not sure where you're touching because your finger is fat relative to the blade. So, but this is a good tool if you're running around with an iPhone. If you're taking the footage to a computer, it's a lot easier to edit it like this because you can see everything and you have a mouse. So maybe that's old school, but hopefully this gets you started. This is not really a great tutorial, but it's enough to get you started. So here's 2 shorts out of there. Take your footage in and just don't be afraid to cut it out and string it out and see what you can do with it.